Yeah, you saw how angry I was. Actually, were you there when I was up on the panel, Skyper? Because I was furious. Water Goddess, hi, good to see you. I was so angry. I actually spoke to him after because of like, how is it that we can have spaces, right? Like, we need to have spaces where we can talk and where we can discuss, and we don't let these stupid right wing Neanderthals take over the spaces, right? We are desperately crying out for these spaces, desperately crying out for them. So why do people on here who are running lives allow them to take over and colonize those spaces? I was so angry. I was so angry, and I don't get angry, but I was furious. Like, that idiot was sucking up all of the air in the room because everything was focused around him. He was allowed to be misogynistic. He was allowed to be Islamophobic. He was allowed to be racist. I said, what is this? What is this? And I messaged him after and I said, I'm so disappointed with how you run your life. Well, yes, we're all very aware of Darren. This is actually not the person I'm talking about, but I only attended Darren's lives twice, and I saw that the second time. I said, that's shit, I'm never going back. And I did a couple of lives talking about people on this platform, men especially, it seems, that they're too busy or too wanting to be right on their platform and too wanting to have an argument with these people rather than actually saying, do you know what, this is my boundary. We need to stop this conversation immediately. Stephen from Django. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, yeah, it's honestly ridiculous. Yes, Skyper, he needed to be told he's allowing so much harm. That's what I said. I said your space is not safe for us. You allow all of this shit in there. That means that we are not safe. Women are not safe in your space. I told him this. And he was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I hope, I'm really sorry about it. I didn't mean it. Not, I didn't mean. Hi, Papi from Mexico. Hola. Buenos dias. Good to see you. Yeah, so it's very, very frustrating when we have TikTok lives or TikTok spaces and they're not being run correctly. Like, we should be able to go to spaces where we do feel happy, comfortable. We can talk about serious shit. We can also laugh at the same time, because laughter and smiling is very important in these spaces too. Because the negative energy that lives on social media is disgusting. It's horrible. And we know that a lot of the problem is coming from Britain. It's coming from English people. So we cannot keep going into spaces where that energy is still the same, because how are we going to fix the world if it's all the same everywhere? We can't do it. We cannot do it. Hi, Taishi. Good to see you. So yeah, I was just talking about a live that I was on. Skyper was also there. And the topic actually was about Islam, okay? It was about Islam, it was about Muslims. I wanted to learn more about it. I've moved to a Muslim country 5 years ago, and I fucking love it. I love living here. People are so friendly, and it's so safe. It's brilliant for women. So I hate seeing the slander about Islam and Muslims, because it always comes from the Neanderthal who hates everybody. And this is why this topic is today. This is why the topic is as it is, right? So it annoys me, and I wanted to go into this space and actually hear more about things from Muslim people. Tell me more about your religion. I want to know more, right? But then they just got into an argument with this right-wing guy, and it was all about him. And I don't know how many more people ended up on the panel, but it was basically mostly women. It was mostly us being like, can we just shut this shit down? Can we shut this shit down? But the host was more interested, as I say, in engaging in this right-wing person than actually talking about their own religion and what it, what it does for the world or what it does for them, which was very frustrating, very frustrating. Skyper, it was an example of men being afraid of men, no backbone, but dangerous. Absolutely. And that's why I was shouting, and I was telling him how to run his live. I was telling him how to run his live. ADHD Rob says, off you pop then. Pop to where? If it's so bad, bye. I just said that I don't live in the UK. I don't live in Europe anymore. You people have nothing new to say. Pappy says, I'm okay, so let me talk about the topic, guys. Why do English people hate white people more than anyone else does? And I've put examples of all the white people that they hate, because they say, Fox, You hate white people. And I'm like, excuse me, you need to check yourselves because I don't. It is you people that actually hate white people. Why don't I put Spaniards up there? That's actually a very interesting point because I don't think English people hate Spanish people that much, actually, in my opinion. I mean, you can tell me what you think, but I don't think that they actually do. I don't think that they do. I think there are other groups of people that they actually hate more. I've not really heard any derogatory things that they say about Spanish people. That's why I haven't put them up there. But they have a slur for almost every other group of white people. They have all the slurs. I know you can, guys here, you know we can name all of the slurs for every group of people here, right? We didn't come up with them. English people did. English people have a slur for everybody. That's okay, Pappy. You can ask questions. Everyone's entitled to ask questions. Everyone can ask questions. Absolutely. But there's a lot of projection that always comes from English people. And I posted a video yesterday, basically, about an experience that I had going to someone's live yesterday. So there was this girl, and she was running a live. She was talking about the Jamie Varley case, right? And actually, like I said, I was going to talk about it today, but it's honestly too emotional for me. I was watching it. I don't have children, by the way. I don't, I'm just a massive empath. I really am an empath. And when I've been watching the case and me talking about it now, it's going to make me cry. It's horrific seeing what happened to that little boy. Like, it's honestly horrific. So I was like, okay, I want to talk about it because it's something that we should be talking about, but I honestly can't. I can't. I watched a few videos. That poor boy and his smiling face, he's so happy. And they did such horrific things to him. So it's too much. So you see, I'm crying already. There's no way I could do a whole live about him. So let me go back to talking about English people and dissing them because that's bloody easy for me to do and it's easy for the rest of us to do. So yeah, but look at that. It's two bloody English guys who've done that. And my topic actually was going to be about Englishmen and their abuse of children and vulnerable people because that's what they do. Vulnerable children, old people, you know, immigrants, descendants of immigrants, like everybody, they do not like and they hate other white people more than any other racial group on this planet. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Who hates white people more than English people? Like, tell me, are there any other ethnic group? I've been racking my brain. Any other culture, any other ethnicity, any other time in history has anyone hated white people more than English people? Who? Cassio Card says I'm wrong. I'd say, tell me who then? Who hates white people more than the English people? Dutch people hate white people more. Dutch people hate white people more? Do you want to come up and tell me where or how in history? White people. Dutch people obviously don't like English people, right? Dutch people don't like English people because when they go to Amsterdam, of course, they do all the disrespect. Spanish people don't like English people because, again, all the disrespect, culturally, holidays and things like that. But who... So I want people to correct me. Cassio Cards, don't say wrong and not correct me with actual facts. Like, tell me exactly why I'm wrong. Don't stay down there in the comment section and just say wrong, like it's pathetic. Come and tell me something. Give me some real, you know, proof and ideas as to why or who. Dutch people only like other Dutch people. Give me a second. Okay. Yeah, but but I need to know how they hate others. That's what I need to know. Because there's one thing liking your own culture, right? There's definitely about, I mean, Polish people will like their own culture and they prefer it. I mean, they're quite racist, but I defend Eastern Europeans. In my personal experience, they've been great with me. I can talk about my real experiences there. But I want to know about them like disliking other white people and literally having campaigns against other white people, because I can't think of any. I really can't think of any. I mean, I always rack this brain of mine, like I rack it, and I can't think. Tiz, how are you today?
Oh, sorry, I didn't think I was going to come up this quick. I was just brushing my teeth. I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Good and good. We can hear the water in the background, so I'm glad that you said you're brushing your teeth because I said last time you was on the toilet, and I thought if you're in the toilet again, am
No, I
I
was in. No, no, no,
live?
no. I've never done. I was in the toilet. I was in the toilet, as in the bathroom. No, 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 no. Yeah. Mate, listen, there are certain things in life that remain 100% private in every way. Sitting on the damn carsy is one of them. All right. I don't even like talking about it. You know, the people that think that like fart jokes are funny. I'm not that person.
Yeah.
I'm the complete opposite. You know what I'm saying? How are you today? You all right?
I'm good, thank you. I'm really good. So yeah, as I was saying at the beginning of this, I was planning on doing a different live today about the Jamie Varley, Baby Preston thing, but I just can't. I'm too emotional to talk about it. So I've gone back to talking about English people because this is a safe space for me. It's a safe place.
Well,
So this is my question today. It's like, why do English people hate white people more than anyone else does? Considering what the English or white people have done to the global majority, I still don't think that they hate white people more than the English. Like, what do you think about that?
okay, that's. I think this is a great question. So I'm going to come at it from 2 points of view. One is my own personal family experience, but just to touch on the why. I think the why lies in very simply British or English exceptionalism, where you spend centuries going around the world and quote unquote civilizing people. It tends to create this notion that you are exceptional and you are above these people. And I don't think that it necessarily is always it has always sorry, I don't think it was always necessarily along the lines of race and colour. It was just anybody
Mm,
who wasn't English. And I'm going to bring that back to the personal thing and tell you quickly about my granddad. So
okay.
my granddad was born. My granddad was a boomer. Literally, well, he wasn't actually. He was born in the last years of the war. Um,
Hmm.
his dad was English. His granddad was English. My mum's side, we're English as far back as the Doomsday Book. You can actually find my family name is in the Doomsday Book. Um,
Wow.
and growing up, I find it really interesting. So I was the first and only person of color with on in my mum's side of the family. Um,
Wow. Mm,
yeah, yeah. I'll tell that story another day. I've touched on it on my lives,
mm.
but I'm kind of saving it for the book. I'm joking. But
Okay. Oh.
yeah, no, I have a high opinion of myself. What can I say? Um,
That's
but
you're
yeah, I
supposed
mean,
to. Everybody should. Everybody should, especially if you've got a
I'm,
bit of black in you. You know, because they've really done a silliness on us, on our levels of self-esteem. So please don't ever talk
well,
down
this
on
is
yourself,
well,
Tiz.
well, this is a great point. And I think that growing up in that environment, so you kind of had the situation where as the 80s is going on and we're getting into the 90s, even saying
Yeah.
certain things becomes less socially acceptable. But
Mm.
when I think back about it, my granddad would occasionally say certain things that you'd sideways glance. The shop was called the Pea Shop. He'd sit me down and
Yeah.
he'd sit me down and he'd be like, watch the cricket whilst, because England might once in a while beat the West Indies. And somehow that was a way of him showing me that England was superior. And I'm like, bro, we don't even like cricket. What are you doing? But the point I'll land on is what I did notice with him. He hated the Irish, right? Despised the Irish, hated Italians, I don't care what people telling people where I'm actually originally from. I'm originally from a town called Bedford, which has a population that has 25% of it is Italian or Italian ancestry. So it's to do with labour shortages after the Second World War. So Southern Italians were recruited to Bedford, and it's very much a melting pot. But I think that what it is, it really doesn't come down to the English have this thing historically that I think now is coming back to the surface through mainstream politics and far right rhetoric, and it really just lies in English exceptionalism. Like I said,
Yeah.
you spend centuries going around the world colonizing and civilizing, savages, quote unquote. Um, then it instills this whole notion that they're superior. I say we there. I mean, I'm half English. I'm not hiding from that. I am half English. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is what it
Mm.
is. And actually,
Yeah.
I should be able to be proud of that. And in some ways, certainly, like we spoke about football the other day. In certain ways, there are certain parts of it that, of course, I have pride. I don't have self hatred. I love who I am. Um,
Mm.
but I think what we're seeing now is we're seeing these this that whole notion of exceptionalism colliding with a declining place in the world. And then when you bring that down
Yes.
onto a micro level, societally, you are seeing, particularly what young white English men disenfranchised, and kind of, they've been, it's been pumped into them their whole lives. You're great, you're this, you're that, you should, we once ruled the world. My granddad, if I heard my granddad say, yeah, we ruled the world, we ruled the world. If I hear that one more time, do you understand what I'm saying? And that's why we where we are today, and that's why figures like Tommy Robinson and people like Nigel Farage and Rupert Lowe are able to. What they've been able to do, they've been able to take that, encapsulate that, and you've now got people go, yeah, you know what? Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? And I think that's kind of where it lies, and I think that's what not have to address. It's not for us to address. It ain't for me to address
It's not
the
for
issue,
us.
although we're affected by them. Yeah,
But can I?
we ain't the ones to
But
fix it.
Please
That's it.
wait
That's all I
your
really
turn.
want to say. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, do you know what? I actually was going to pick up on the fact that, I mean, you obviously have mixed race heritage, and actually I have done a mixed race panel before, trying to kind of understand or hope that people with mixed ethnicity, especially if you do have half English side, if you understand what that means. And I'm very glad that you do. And the fact that you can still see some of the problematic things that your own grandparent was saying, and that you've actually come to learn that that is problematic. Because, I mean, which side is that? Is it your father's side or mother's side, did you say? That's the white side.
That's my mother's side.
Your mother's
So that's
side, yeah.
the dominant. Yeah, the
Yes.
matriarch, and she was very dominant. That was a dominant side of who I was, and my dad's side. So this is also really interesting, not necessarily relevant to the topic, but actually also is. So my dad's side, are Caribbean, Tobago. But my auntie, and this actually almost sent her to, in fact, it did send her crazy. My auntie spent like 10 to 15 years tracing our lineage and our heritage, and
Wow.
was able to trace us back through the transatlantic slave trade to West Africa. Transported to the Caribbean, grandparents or great grandparents, dad born there, come here as a result of empire. The very English exceptionalism that we talk about, and I'm a product of that. And I often say that I would like academics to maybe study me, because I think I'm a really interesting, again this whole me, but I love it. But I think I find it really, because I am the quintessential prototype of mixed heritage, not just in terms of my genetic makeup, because you imagine you grow up in an English environment, and my granddad hated Scottish people. Scottish people had their own derogatory name. Welsh people had a derogatory.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean.
Irish people had a derogatory name. French people had derogatory names. German people had derogatory names. Italian. I can keep going.
Exactly. Yes.
So
This is
for
exactly
me,
my point. Yes.
So for me, when I would then step outside the front door as I'm getting older, and I'm seeing, like, one of my really good friends, his family are Jamaican, but their dad was Indian. But I was kind of taken into this household as my friend, and I then started to kind of look around and go, well, what's this food? What's this way that people are talking? I didn't even understand until I was about 11 or 12 that I just thought that every person who was black came from Jamaica. And I was like, I remember saying to my auntie, are we Jamaican like them? She's like, no, we're from Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm like, I knew geography, and I was like, really? And what I'm saying is that then kind of forces you to, because there's nowhere within the home that I can go, mum, auntie, uncle, granddad, where do I come from? And my black side of the family was so distant in terms of geography. Seeing them was like a Christmas or Easter treat. There ain't no time to learn where you come from. I'm just the bad ADHD. They didn't know what ADHD was then, but I'm the bad ADHD mixed race kid that comes to see the black family, and my mum's like, don't swear around your grandma, kind of thing. So anyway, the point I'm making is that it's very, very important that because, again, I say it again with I'm not ashamed, but I say it with a tinge of like, yeah, I'm half English, and I grew up in an English household, and the problem, and it wasn't all bad, of course it wasn't. but I think again, I'm kind of going off on a bit of a tangent here because it's early in the
That's
morning.
okay.
But I think
That's okay.
I think you kind I think you kind of get where I'm going, where I'm coming from, and where I'm going. But yeah, I think that
Yeah.
it's very important that to understand that yes, I think there is a thing with this around British exceptionalism is very much at the center of all of this.
Mm,
And I think
yes.
once you understand that, and this is not, I'm not anti, I get accused of being anti-white and anti-English every single day of my life. I am
Oh
anything,
yeah.
I'm anything
Yeah.
but. I'm not going to utter the fact I've got white friends, but no, I have white children, right? My stepdaughter
But
is as
even
blonde haired
that's
and
not
blue eyed.
even that's not yeah even that's not even like relevant because they're so sensitive to criticism. They say
Yeah.
anybody who criticizes England or English people is all of a sudden a racist towards the entire ethnic group or race of white people. That's how triggered they are, like really, really freaking triggered. But and this is why my topic is as it is today, because I literally went to somebody's space yesterday. I went to somebody's live and they were talking about Jamie Varley. And all I said in the comments section, right, was he's just been given a full sentence because they just posted an update like four minutes ago on BBC at that time, right? The woman who was running that live, she pinned my post and started having a go at me. And I'm like, girl, stick to the topic, stick to what you're talking about. You're talking about
Mm.
Jamie Varley. I was literally sitting there just watching, right? And this is the first time I've seen her. I didn't know who she was, but she was talking about what I wanted to talk about today. So I was like, let me listen to what she has to say about the case. But then the whole conversation turned around about me. You hate white people. You
Mm.
said, and I was like, what the fuck?
Do you know what? Do you
I
know what,
was
Bob?
like, ah,
It's,
yeah.
it's the mental gymnastics, right? Because and again, I think here's the point I want to land on. So with everything I've just explained to you, right, and I
Mm,
have no shame in it whatsoever. I am half English, right? I was born in
yeah.
this country, raised in this country, and there are many things about this country that if we could sort this shit out and kind of reframe the good stuff that Britain has to offer, and I say Britain, right, purposely.
Yes.
It's there
Yes,
is so
Britain, not United Kingdom,
yeah.
Britain. Yes.
Britain, there are so many things that do. I don't walk around hating the place I live, and I don't walk around hating the
Mm,
people that I live and walk alongside. Um,
mm,
but the mental gymnastics that has to go on is, so I'm English, but I have people that tell me I don't belong here. When I'm going home, where are you sending me to, bruv? Bedfordshire. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
But this is it. This
and
is
then just to
exactly what
bring
you've been talking about. The exceptionalism, this narcissism that they have, that they think they can dictate to you your own family line. And it's annoying though, isn't it, Tiz? Especially I can imagine for someone like yourself who has to sometimes feel like you have to justify your existence because all they're doing is criticizing and judging other people and just being like, it's the it is like it's all it is just control because English people don't have any fucking control. So they try to control everybody else. You need to identify like this. I need to tell you exactly what you are. Because their elites have been, doing everything that they've been doing to them for centuries. And so they've had to try to do it on a civilian level. And they'll do it to people like yourself as well. And of course, they do it to the rest of us every single day. And, and I'm glad that we're in the era now where we're turning that shit back around on them and we're not letting it fly. We're not letting it fly. Yeah. Thank
well,
you so
listen,
much,
thank you.
Tears.
Always a pleasure.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day. All right. See you soon.
And to
Bye.
you too, brother. Take care. All
Bye.
right, Africa, are you there, my dear? Africa, are you there? You were on teacup. Africa. No? Okay, we're going to move to Well Done Dave. Well done, Dave. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm lovely, thank you. So this is my topic today. I said this because English people always tell me I hate white people, but literally my platform defends other white people. They're the ones who actually hate white people the most. So that's my question today is why do English people hate white people more than anyone else does? And I've literally put the groups of people that I know that they hate specifically. And like Tiz has just said, and like I know, and like a lot of us know, is they have an ethnic slur, a racial slur for each group of these people on here. So I'd like to know what your thoughts are about that as well, please, Dave.
Um, why do English people hate white people? I think it's we English have a bit of a god complex, a bit of a superiority thing. And I think it comes from the fact that we're now being challenged on our rhetoric. We're now being challenged on some of our views and the way
Yes.
that we carry ourselves. And this is being done in terms of our history and the atrocities that our ancestors committed. And I think because we're the lens, you know, we're now under the microscope. We're very defensive, and I think that a lot of it is to do with I think it's that. I think it's we have a history that's incredibly deeply rooted in you know, destabilization, invasion, colonization, theft.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the tip of the iceberg, I guess. And we're
All the
now under the
terrible things
microscope.
you can think about. Yeah, all the terrible things, like every terrible thing you could think about on this planet that's ever happened, the English have done it.
Yeah,
And they've done it to a ridiculous scale. That's the thing. It's the ridiculous scale. Can I ask the ethnicity of both of your biological parents, please?
yeah, white British. Yeah,
Both of them are white British.
yeah.
So you're on the decolonial journey, right? You're decolonizing, you're understanding the brutality of British Empire, which is exactly what's needed. What we're seeing, or what I'm seeing as a black woman, is I'm not seeing not enough men doing, you know, on the decolonial path. I'm seeing a lot of women being able to accept the history and understanding that they're going to be part of the change and the future of what we want Britain to look like, right? Because Britain's always been multicultural, but English people seem to be the one tribe that's living in the United Kingdom that is not enjoying multiculturalism anymore, right? And it's very frustrating to see, especially because they have decided to control most of the United Kingdom. And this is why I've put Irish, Welsh, Scottish on there, because the first people that they disrespected were the Irish, Welsh, and Scottish, did horrific things to them, said horrific things about them, treated them horrifically, took away their language, you know, called them the Neanderthals as well.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah.
like I said, they've got a slur for every single ethnic group on this planet, right? So it's really encouraging to hear. But yourself, though, as a white, I'm assuming you have Anglo-Saxon roots, or you British, or you from the Irish, Welsh, Scottish background,
I've
Celtic.
never really thought to look into it, and I think the reason that I've never thought to look into it is I've never had this thing whereby I need to justify my existence, or I need to justify that I have roots here and I'm part of, you know, the Anglo-Saxon, and I deserve to be here. So I've never looked back. But then that also says something about me, because I've never felt the pressure to justify, which means I'm privileged. I've never had to do that. I've never had to, you know.
It might also mean that you've probably got some Celtic ancestry, because honestly, this goes back quite some time. And I think there would be some kind of inklings or some hints anyway within your family line to tell you something that does seem quite superior, whatever the word is, English, right, about
Yeah,
it. And this is what I always find in conversations, is that I can tell the difference between an English person or someone who's half English and half Irish, like very quickly in any conversation, because Anglo-Saxons, the arrogancy just jumps out. It really does. It jumps out so fast, and they're so triggered by these conversations, right? And I do think if you've got some kind of different ethnicity in your background, that stops that arrogancy from coming out, and it stops the defensiveness and the insecurity and all these other things. So it's generally good anyway to have more white people in the UK that can be involved in this conversation. This is very important, especially in 2026. So yeah, it's
but
honestly really good to have these
I hear what
conversations.
you're saying, but I still feel like there is a degree of being uncomfortable in having these
Yes.
conversations, because I can have empathy and I can have understanding, but I haven't walked in the shoes of the people that have been oppressed, that have been racially abused. Do you know what I mean? So I
Yes,
almost
of
feel like
course
a
I
bit.
know what
I
you
almost
mean.
feel. I
Of
almost feel
course
a
I know.
little bit.
You're
A
talking to a
little
black
bit.
woman. Of course I know.
But do you know what I mean? I almost feel a little bit like fraudulent, almost in wanting to understand and wanting to have that dialogue and wanting to be proactive in addressing these things, there's also that degree of discomfort because it's like it's not what I've
Yes.
lived. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely does. But that's the thing about the discomfort is if you let the discomfort control you, that's when things go wrong. And that's what we're constantly dealing with. People who are very uncomfortable and then their egos just take control of everything and then we can't have any conversation. That's the frustrating part. So I don't know. I mean, I know you've been on my panel before, but are you aware of anti-racist mum? Are you aware of
No,
her?
no.
No, okay. Every person here, if you're white, black, brown, whoever you are, please go and find out about the anti-racist mum. I always talk about her a lot. She is like the UK's Jane Elliott. If you don't know who Jane Elliott is, Jane Elliott was an amazing scholar in the United States who was a white woman. I don't know how old she is now, but she is literally like the person who was breaking down white narcissism, because I call it white narcissism. Of course, we're very used to it being called white supremacy, but she breaks down white narcissism and talks about the colonial history. She says the N word, does she? I've not heard any clips of her saying that. So that to me is already annoying now. That's annoyed me now. That's annoyed me. So maybe I won't say anything about her anymore. But the anti-racist mum definitely doesn't say the N-word. So let me erase what I've just said about Jane Elliott. Let me erase. I don't know. Oh no, this has disappointed me. So ignore what I've just said.
Well then,
Ignore. Let's not talk about Jane Elliott. Let's talk about the anti-racist mum. Okay, anti-racist mum. Absolutely fantastic woman. She is decolonizing. I mean, she's been doing this for 20 years or so. She spent a lot of time in Australia with the First Nations people. She's all about Indigenous people. She's about the global majority. And she's also, of course, about holding white people accountable for their current day behavior. Because it's not about, oh, blaming the ancestors. Oh, I wasn't here for that, and blah, blah, blah. The behavior has still continued, whether English people, white Western Europeans. I'm very clear about who I'm exactly talking about. It's the white Western European who mainly has this idea of just continuing to colonize spaces, right? And we see this definitely in British people when they go traveling and they go on holiday and they don't integrate and they don't respect local cultures and traditions. And they're in Thailand jumping into forbidden waters where they're not supposed to go. And we know the story about what they do in Spain and how Spanish people have had enough and they're kicking them out of the country. So this is all about how do you, as English people, anyone here who's actually English and identifies as English, how do you start to respect the rest of the world? Because you went around there thinking that everyone had to respect you. It is time that the tables were turned and you understand that respect was always supposed to go both ways and not one way. So,
well,
yeah, well
I
done,
think I
Dave. When
can.
you
Sorry, just to
go on.
say, I think I can like, you try and put yourself in other people's shoes. So you've got these people that are nationalist, ethno-nationalist. Let's face it, outright racist. Okay,
Yeah.
so I can kind of get some handle on when they turn around and say, "Oh, I'm not to blame for what my ancestors did." Now, I don't agree with that as a statement, but I can get why someone would say it. I can get why, look, I'm here today and I couldn't control what happened then. So they will, the whole colonization, invasion, the theft of resources, the destabilization of governments, all the rest of it. I get it. In a very factual way, you can turn around and say, well, that wasn't me. I wasn't there. I didn't agree to that. But what I really struggle with is when people have this issue with asylum seekers and they can't seem to grasp just the simple fact of why a lot of them come here, and they can't get their head around the fact that in all that we did, all that we went out into the world and did, and the whole thing was make the world Britain. And in doing that, a lot of countries' second language was English. So we went out and did this. So even if you want to forget, even if you don't want to look at the atrocities and you ignore that, you cannot possibly ignore that in going around the world and invading most of it, we gave people our language and our culture. So when people now have
Well,
to flee,
forced it.
forced
Forced
it, okay,
it.
gave probably the
It
wrong
was
word.
forced.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When people now
Yeah.
flee and they want to go somewhere where they can have some form of a decent life and be able to work, a lot of these people's second language is English. And this whole argument of, well, they're now in a safe country in France. Why don't they stay in France and, whatever? Because they don't speak French. Even just that
Yes,
alone,
exactly.
is a reason enough to go, okay, if they want to integrate and they want to get on in the world, they've got to go somewhere where they can communicate, where they can connect, and where they can work and whatever. And I really
Yes.
struggle why people can't get their heads around that fact.
Because unfortunately, the particular English people we're talking about right now, they don't have the cognitive ability to understand that kind of logic. Honestly, they're very basic in their mindset, very, very basic. And like I say, this defensiveness, this inferiority that lives within them, everything is always about combativeness, combativeness, combativeness. And as soon as they try to accept anything negative about English people or Englishness, they take it personally. They think it reflects upon them. But again, this is when we talk about lineage and you talk about heritage and anything that's happened in someone's family line before then. And this is where you definitely see the evolution of the English person or the Anglo-Saxon or anyone in Britain, right? It's whether they've actually been able to expand their mind more to understand the full conversation. But unfortunately, I think people still underestimate how uneducated English people are, like really and truly. Because that's the thing. Generally, most of us were uneducated in the UK, I have to say. Genuinely, because of the education system we grew up in, it was literally meant to make us all slaves. It's all slaves to capitalism, right? And so, I mean, I always bring up myself. I learned more in the last 2 years than I ever have done in years in my previous life, even at school. I learned nothing because they don't teach you anything. So when you grow up and you be an adult, you're supposed to continue learning about life and learning about people and your neighbors and your friends and culture and humanity. You're supposed to continue learning. But these people, they stopped. And they've stopped right here and they don't want to learn anymore because they literally just can't. And I think they also don't want to. I think it's this ignorance. I think it's arrogance. I think it's in the culture. I think it's also in the DNA. But these are the people, of course, as we're seeing, who are struggling the most on this planet. They're the most angry and they're the most lashing out and they're the ones who are smashing up shit. And, you know, it's them. It's them. If they actually just understood the problem, they would be a lot less frustrated. A lot less frustrated and not wanting to make themselves victims in a situation, because they're not victims. They're victims in a certain way, yes. I talk a lot about the Industrial Revolution and how it kind of started around there with parents enslaving their own children, and if they became to the Industrial Revolution, right? And if they became orphaned, then of course they were just raised by the system, which is generally what the Anglo-Saxons are. They're raised by capitalism, and so that same mindset continues. And you have to consciously be able to break out of that. But breaking out of systems is very uncomfortable, generally. It is very uncomfortable. Right. Thank you so much for that, Dave. Thank you.
No
Appreciate your
worries.
time.
Take care.
Thank you. You too. You too. Africa, are you back yet? Africa, no. No. Okay, we'll go to LB. LB, how are you, my darling?
Good morning. Can you hear me? So I don't know if I'm lagging. The network here is
Yes.
quite not the best.
I can hear you perfectly right now. I can hear you.
Good morning.
Yes.
Hi.
So this is the
Well,
hi. So this is the topic today is why do English people hate white people more than anyone else does? You know, they always say, oh, black people or brown people. They mostly say black people. They're the most racist towards white people. I was like, have you checked yourselves? Like, you guys hate white people more than anyone. So that's my question today.
it's so funny because the other night, so I'm currently in Tanzania. I joined a
Oh,
live, a very racist live,
lovely.
and and he was this man was trying to explain. He was trying to get to the bottom of, racism and what it is and how to spot unconscious bias, right? He was so calm, the opposite of me. He was so calm with the woman, and she just wouldn't take it for the life of him. And every time she kept cutting him off. And I said, okay, first of all, why are you here if you're not here to learn? You're on a black man's panel who's
Can
trying
you
to
just
teach you
can you
very
just
calmly.
clarify
You don't want to hear it. You
clarify,
want to tell
LB? Can
him.
you hear me? LB, can you hear me? Just clarify the ethnicity of the
Yes,
male
I
and the
can hear you.
ethnicity of the female for us, please. Yeah.
The ethnicity of the male was a black Jamaican man, and the ethnicity of the woman was a white Irish woman. And she refused. She refused to hear where racism came from. She refused to hear race
Oh, your signal
blew the
is
roof.
yeah.
She was
You're
so offended by the word. Oh no. All right. I'm gonna join on my other phone. I'm gonna join on my other phone.
Okay. Thank you, LB. Thank you.
Disconnect me.
I'm just gonna.
Disconnect me.
Yes, thank you. I'll go to Eve in the meantime as well. Okay, Eve, are you there, love?
Hi, I've never joined your live before, so thanks for having me.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Good, thank you. I'm getting ready for work, so yeah, just vibing.
Ignore that part. Ignore that part. Enjoy the moment right now. Let's have a cool conversation.
Sure.
Yeah. So this is the topic today. What would you like to add, Eve?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I've literally just joined 5 minutes ago, so I'm just having a little read. I think, yeah, I suppose a lot of it is from colonialism and sort of the history. It's interesting what you said about. I mean, I'm a white woman. I grew up in England. One person English, so but it's interesting what you said about the education system, because I'm not a teacher, but like I do have friends who are teachers and history teachers specifically, and it is completely true. Like our education system does not teach us anything about the atrocities of what the English committed, and anything that kind of implies it is kind of very sort of like washed over. So like for example, I remember learning about like the Industrial Revolution, but it was like there was no mention of like slavery or like even
nothing
like
about the child slavery,
like,
nothing about the enslavement of Africans, nothing.
Absolutely. None of that was even mentioned. If it was mentioned, it was a footnote. Do you know what I mean? The emphasis is put on these are the capitalist overlords that have made money for the country. That was the emphasis of the whole subject, if that makes sense. So it's like it's very interesting when you sort of break down our education system and sort of, like as you say, it's not made to make us think for ourselves, particularly like in working class communities, in state schools.
Yes.
It's not designed for us to think for ourselves. It's designed for us to go work in a low wage job and make money for people. That's
right, to keep capitalism going. That's the whole point. It is to keep us compliant, to keep us docile, to feed us in with the media and the government, to keep, like, you know, I always think of that movie WALL-E. I always think about that movie a lot. That is literally what capitalism looks like. It's like feed the people, make them look at a TV screen like this, you know, again, thank you, Mimi, not to ask questions. Like, don't challenge anything or everything. Just do exactly what we say. And the rich and the overlords, as you say, which I like that word, I like that phrase, the overlords stay satisfied then. But as soon as you break the mold, you then have people looking at you. Why are you different? Why are you not like the rest of us? And I say it's obviously more easier for black and brown people or any people from mainland Europe to break out of that, because this is not our system. Any of the other people, the Polish, Czech, Russians, Eastern Europeans, Germans, like anybody who comes from outside of the United Kingdom, it is easier for all of us to break free of that system. And we are the ones that start questioning and start challenging. I get a lot of Eastern European content on my TikTok, a lot of Polish people, of course, recently what happened with Henry Novak. And they've all said the same thing. It's like, why do English people suddenly like us now? They were trying to kick us out of the country. We experienced such horrific discrimination from them. And I love the content because it's half in English and half in their native language. So like I'm watching it and I'm reading the subtitles. It's brilliant. But they're just saying the same thing. Like, it's crap. We're going back to where we come from. And they'll ask the same question. Why do English people want to come with us to Poland? Why are they trying to come to Poland now? Like, we don't want you in Poland. Do you think that you're going to be welcome there? I saw a video of a guy, I don't know if anyone's seen this, it was an English guy who's gone to Russia. And he was talking about how difficult it was and how much he's been hated and everything. It's like, they just don't like English people here. Wow, wow, wow. He was about, like, what were you expecting? Again, because we are very aware now of the brainwashing. Yeah, the Canadian family as well. Are you talking about the one that went to war? Is it that one? And then the husband ended up getting unalived. Is that the one, I think? Yeah. I remember that story. Jesus Christ. This is the thing. If you now, especially in 2026, right, you're very aware that the conversation used to be about white people a lot. And generally, you will see conversations about the whole entirety of white people, right, around the whole world. But then when you come to specific spaces, especially spaces like mine, I very much differentiate between the different ethnic, it's too early, I'm getting so tongue-tied, the different ethnic groups in the world. So I talk about the Western Europeans and I separate them from the Eastern Europeans. And this is why I have this prompt today. Like I've said, and I'll repeat it again, the reason why I have this. LB, you're very like muffled in the background. Yeah, you're like underwater, LB. Yeah, you're really, really blah. Yeah, so again, the reason why I've got this prompt today is because I went to a live yesterday, and I was just sitting in the background. I made one comment because it was about the Jamie Varley case, and I said he's just been given a full sentence. That's all I said. The girl pinned my comment and started screaming and shouting at me, You're a C word, you're racist towards white people, you hate white people, like really having a go at me. And I was like, why are you making me? Oh, is it from that video? Yeah, so that's why I've actually like talked about it today. And this is what made me think when I woke up this morning. I was like, but it's English people who hate white people. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's English people that hate white people more than anyone. And I don't hate white people. I've never said anything, as far as I know, derogatory towards white people. I talk about whiteness as a system, whiteness as a construct, and my platform is very clearly about English people. So it's English people who always want to drag the rest of whiteness into their shit. They always want to do that. And as we've seen, as I said earlier, they're dragging now Eastern Europeans, and they say that they all of a sudden like Polish people. So yes, Eve, can I ask how old you are, Eve?
I'm 32.
32. So I'm a whole 10 years older than you. And it's
nice.
very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting that you still have the same experience of what education was like. At GCSE, did you get the choice between history and geography?
I don't think I didn't take either because I think I took like music and French instead. But I did enjoy history. I did
So
when I did my access course to go to uni as a mature student, I did a history module then, and that was really interesting.
Do you remember what you learned? What events in history you were taught? Or what you were taught to learn about?
In secondary school, it was definitely Industrial Revolution, like World War II, Kings and Queens, kind of it. And in the access course, I remember it was like World War One specific. We did do an interesting module on like women in history, but the rest of it was like very World War One, yeah, again, colonial centric kind of thing. So
Yes,
and that was
yeah.
about
I always
10 years
think
ago.
I always think the world wars are the most interesting part of everything because that was literally white on white crime, like the
Yeah.
biggest white on white crime. It was just a bunch of people fighting and spreading it throughout the world. Like they don't realize that World War One was literally started because it was basically family members feuding. It was all the kings of these families that were feuding, cousins were feuding. And so they had to drag millions of white men to their deaths because their egos were too out of control. And then they started to make, kind of excuses after about the Second World War, and they dragged, of course, Indian people and black people and tried to say it's World War again. Like, no, you only dragged us in because you colonized us, and that's why you say about the Commonwealth, this was not a world war. You bribed and manipulated people and told people you were going to give them land and all these things. 4 acres and a mule? They told black Americans and African Americans. That's what you'll get if you fight on our side. Did they get those things? No. Again, all it was for the 1%. It was for those people, and they didn't give a shit about any person. And so, patriots get very frustrated at me, and especially veterans or people who always celebrate the November date when they wear the poppy and everything. I can't remember the date off the top of my head.
11th
What's the
November.
date?
Yeah, 11th
11th.
November.
I thought it was 11th. Yeah, 11th of November. And they'll wear the poppy and everything. And I say, you do realise that your parents, or not your parents, your family was human sacrifice.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well. Sorry to put in, but like, my granddad was in the RAF, and I've also got relatives that have been in the armed forces. And to be honest, the second you leave the forces, like you're kind of thrown out to the waste. Like it's not.
Yes.
The way we treat veterans is actually quite appalling. Obviously, they're upheld by white supremacy and white narcissism, as you say. It's like this sort of wonderful thing, and we need to protect our veterans. But in practice, no one cares. Like nobody actually wants to protect our veterans. Really, it's just it's all a facade.
Yes, you're very right in that, and it's incredibly sad because my mother, used to work in an old people's home, and she worked in it for over 10 years. And the way she used to just see people, family members would never come and visit. There was no real support from the government. Like, it's very, very sad. And when people came up with this phrase now, and we talked a little bit about phrases yesterday, actually, about how some phrases are easy to roll off the tongue, like stop the boats and Africans sold Africans, and why don't you house them? You know, these things, it's like, you house them, house them. Why don't you house asylum seekers, right? And my counter argument was, well, why are you not housing your veterans? You know, if you claim to care so much about your lineage and your history, why don't you actually spend any time with your veterans or people who you say demand the greatest and utmost respect? You don't care about these people at all. Like, you literally don't care. And the funny thing is, I get very sad actually when I think about it, considering how old I am. There's only one person I know who actually did anything with veterans, and she was an Indian girl. You know, she was one of my old Indian friends, and she would spend a lot of time with veterans. Actually, 2 Indian friends, thinking about it now, because again, like, Indian people are very colonized. My God, they're very colonized, like too colonized, I have to say as well. I got some judgments there, but they do a lot. And as we know, of course, about the Sikh community, there's been a lot of time with white older people and veterans, or people who still have kind of stories about being during the war, right? They still have it. But again, you're just wondering, well, where's your family? Where's your neighbours? All of those people. I don't know. Are there any more points you want to add, Eve? And then we're going to go to Mimi next.
No, I've got to go to it now, but I'll thank you very much for having me, and I'll pop back on your stream at some point.
No problem. It was lovely to speak to you, Eve. Take care. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Morning, Fox.
Hi, Mimi, love.
Morning, my darling. Lola's back, and I know her internet's not stable. So do you want to try going to her? I don't want to run your live, sorry.
Yes.
But she's back.
Yeah,
so do
that's
you want to
okay.
try?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. LB, Lola, are you there? Can we hear you? Your signal is like red. We've got one. I don't know if you can see the same thing on your screen, but it's literally only saying one red bar of signal. Yeah, I think it's still a bit of a struggle there. Mimi, yeah, I'll come back to you. I'll keep an eye on your signal though, Lola.
All
when
right.
it goes up, I'll try and come back to you. Yes, Mimi, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for hosting this live as always. I saw your video. I was cracking up. Anti-racist mums left a comment saying the editing was great. And I was like, yes, it definitely was. The red face and all. So
Thank you.
It's so true. And I think it's
She
important.
was. She stopped her whole live. She stopped her whole live to address. I didn't say this in the video, but there was literally 1,500 people watching.
Wow.
Right? 1,500 people watching. And she stopped her whole live to address me. And that's why I was like, girl, focus on your topic. Focus on your topic. Like, I'm not
She's
important
triggered.
here. But apparently I was that important. So
Well, as I always say, we appreciate you holding this because it needs to happen. I think
you.
it needs to happen. It's really weird. Going back to what I think it's Eve said before about the history and stuff. We have actually got a campaign about changing the curriculum. I think it's the Black Curriculum Campaign.
Black curriculum, yay!
It talks about the
Yes.
fact that we need to alter the curriculum because I think a lot of YT people aren't aware in the UK of the transgressions of their forefathers. And when they do this,
Yes.
oh, but that was so long ago, I'm thinking, but the repercussions of what you've done or continue to do now are very much evident. So if you want to stop the boats, you need to reconcile, repair, and give reparations to what you've done elsewhere. The easiest way for you to stop the immigration wave that's going to invariably come is to stop fasting with other countries and their governments. It's that simple. We now have a
Just that
situation where the
simple.
UAE is running around along with the UK and other groups causing havoc on the continent of Africa. There are repercussions to this. You cannot sit and think you're in isolation when our government are getting in bed with the likes of Peter Thiel, the PayPal mafia, and that Elon Musk, who I cannot stand, and think that there's going to be no fallout from what they're doing. So yeah, as Water Goddess says, just stop making immigrants. It's that simple. Not many people want to leave
Yes.
their homelands. Not very few people want to leave their
Exactly.
homelands. So if you think
Nobody
about
wants
the
to
pull
leave,
factors,
really.
you have
Yes.
created those factors. So until you stop doing that, you now have the small hats people that the place that was offered to them on the African continent they originally denied. They're now talking about how they want 1 in 5 children to be born on the continent to be of Israeli heritage. This is crazy.
Oh no, it's horrific.
What are we,
It's
so, and
horrific.
again, that's the state that we created. We had a direct hand in the formation of that state. So again, if we hadn't gone to the cousins war, which is a siblings war, and say to them like, let's have a WW1 and WW2, there wouldn't be these fallouts. But they don't analyze it from that lens. It's funny. I've got my degrees in history and sociology, and one of the things that we're taught is how to critically assess or analyze what's happened. And sometimes even within the sources, and I remember when I was at A level and GCSE, I used to fight back in my classes because as a Black Jamaican or as a Black Caribbean, I had to attend Saturday school because the school system failed me so badly in this country. I actually run one now. And so one of the things that we got taught was our Black history. And that was so important for us because it stopped this idea, this myth that Black people just arrived in Windrush, because we didn't. And it also helped us to understand how we came to being. And because of that, I have to move accordingly when I'm dealing with other countries. When I'm speaking to someone on this app, like someone like Covey, who has had a hard time with Jamaicans who are Rastafarians coming in, supporting Ethiopia, which has also hindered her country, Eritrea.
Yeah.
I have to move as a Black British Jamaican. Even I've got to accept to myself. Do you know what? I've had a hand in some of the upset that's happened to her country. So let me be a bit more appreciative. What we are saying to these white English people is that no one cares about whether or not it was for how long ago it was. It's the fact that it's happened and it hasn't been dealt with. And you feed every generation. Each time you ignore it, you feed into it. And I said it earlier on your platform, I think it was last week. Fascism has a cycle. What we're in now is fascism with a drive for authoritarianism. And one of the things I need people to understand is there's a cycle. These guys don't care how they get in power. The aim is just to get in power and maintain it for the elites. And the elites don't look like the majority of these whitey people, let alone the other subgroups of whiteiness that you've got listed on your banner. And it keeps happening. And I cannot stress enough to people, once you start to know your history, you start to become empowered, because it then becomes a situation, well, why is it that they want IDs? Why is it they're telling me that I should focus on the people on the boat who don't have any capital, don't really affect my material conditions, but actually you have not gone around and taken back those COVID loans from people. You have not gone and investigated. X has paid less than £1 million in taxation.
Yes.
X.
It's ridiculous.
What are we doing?
Ridiculous.
So why are we listening to these as I said earlier, Elon Musk has been put in a situation where he's been placed in a situation where he cannot fail. It is dangerous to have someone who's so overtly racist in that position. He's done what I regard as being a financial scam. X was failing.
Yes.
He's bought it up with another company that he owns. He's now inflated it because the people that he used to finance X were furious with him. He was losing money. They were losing money. The banks were losing money. And so he's now leveraged this other company, SpaceX, which has how many government contracts? So we talk about handouts. We talk about benefits. Elon Musk is only a trillionaire because of government handouts. So when you're talking about benefit cheats and scams, why are we not looking at these people that we are effectively subsidizing as a nation? This man has been placed in a situation where he cannot fail, because if he fails, that's all of our pension pots that are placed in it. That's all of the government initiatives that are in there. Peter Thiel, Plantier, all of those guys that are asking for our data and information. We've seen the bait and switch in another, I can't remember which country it was, where they've kicked them out now. They've said, hold on a minute, they offered them a program for their police service for 5 years. It was free, and then they turned around and said, "Oh, we want to charge you X amount of mil," and the country said, "Actually, no, we're not going to do it." They've tried to do. They're doing the same thing here.
Out.
Oh, do you know? I've got an article. Coffee's she's faster than the FBI. They have now serious. They've started to raise serious concerns about allowing them access, because it's scraping data. Once you've got access, like in the NHS. Once you've got access to all of our data, what happens with it thereafter? A classic example for us in the UK is Moderna. The NHS data went into making that vaccine. At no point should any other vaccination that's come from that be charged to the UK. And these are basic contract kind of things that should be stipulated in it. People always come to the UK because our data is rich, because we've got the NHS and it's quote unquote free, which is not. It allows people, social scientists, data scientists, medical researchers to have, you know, information that tends to be quote unquote pure, unlike the States where it's politically damaged and we don't like to touch it. So our information is quite valuable, and that's a reason why they're pushing so hard to have.
Incredibly valuable.
Exactly. So there's a reason why. But in return from that, we've got that Muppet he's just resigned, that was the head of the NHS. He's given it to them for free. Now, any residual information or like drugs that are made from that data, we will be charged. They know how much, they know the contractual arrangements of the drugs of the schmugs that we're charging for now. That's extremely valuable. We're going to be ripped off in the future now. Because we're streeting, thank you. So again, it is about hatred, and I bring it back. All these things are intertwined, because if you're constantly focusing on the 1%, the 19 is at the cost of the 99%. And there's a lot of you that have got bad teeth, bad knees, bad health running around, and you're not getting the care that you deserve. You spoke about those old people's homes. I'm talking about the schools now where the kids cannot get educated properly. I'm talking about the hospitals where we're having to wait. You know, is it worth going to A&E? I remember in the 97 Tony Blair years, the target of 3 hours, and that was the scandal. Now we've got people in A&E for 20, 24, 36 hours.
Yeah, it's very bad. It's very bad.
What
very,
society
very
do you want to
bad. My
live in?
mother, that the thing. Yeah. And this is the thing, like, there's so many problems in the UK. It is very hard because I feel like it's constantly fighting fires. Because of course you do have the government now that actually doesn't give a shit, and people are not aware that how the UK government has always run is that they'll always give you some little treats, they'll give you some crumbs and expect you to be really happy while they're always pulling the rug from underneath you all of the time and doing some real fucking shady stuff constantly. And they'll tell you that the NHS waiting list have gone down because people forget COVID was the most like terrifying years for so many people in our modern time. People have all of a sudden forgot that we even went through that. And they don't actually understand the consequences of what happened during that period of time. They're not willing to admit that, okay, there's some knock-on effects from that. For example, the NHS waiting lists were going to be increased because of that. And then there became an extra strain on other certain facilities. And like, you know, there's now a generation of children that weren't educated in the same way as the rest of us and blah, blah, blah. You know, there's loads of things. And of course, we had the PPE scandals at the same time, where the billionaires became billionaires in that time. So that's how they even became further away from people like you and me all here, right? So everybody needs to remember that you have to go back to be able to go forward. And this is an annoying thing about English people, is that they'll always say, well, why do we need to go in the past? Because this is exactly what I've just said. You need to be able to go back to be able to go forward. You have to understand where things broke. Where is the problem? So you can fix it and then move forward. But this is the problem with English people, is they always have, yes, exactly. The past informs the future. And it always has done. But because they're such NPCs, they don't understand. Yeah, but they're NPCs. I have this video on my page about it.
I feel they're willfully being conditioned at this point as well, because there's too much information and data out there. But just to end on, back to the fascism, back to those elites, it's not a tin hat theory now. You know, we've got too much data. We've seen too many cycles of this. And the Irish, the Poles, the treatment of the Polish is a classic example. From 97 until 2020, when, you know, Brexit or whatever it was, I forget. Now, look at that. Dementia, my old age. That's a classic cycle of fascism. They didn't care who it was. They leveraged them coming in under Blair and getting out under the Tories. You are not safe. And this is why we say to people all the time, you're much closer to us as Black people than you are to those elites, because they don't care. Capitalism predicated on the fact of oppression. And unfortunately for us, it's Black people that are always going to be at the bottom of the power of the triangle. So again, we are saying to you that if you've got an exploitative nature, you are going to exploit. And unfortunately, those people that are there, they're in the middle. They're not the white elites. Even the whitey people, they don't even like the poor white people. It's crazy. The disdain they have for them. I will never, the embarrassment, eighth or fifth richest country, and we've got food banks. A black footballer had to tell you to feed your own kids. It's madness. It will never
It's
be
true.
right with you until you
It's
start doing
true.
right by other people. So I'm just going to end it here. Don't believe me. I'm a big fat liar. Go and look into your own history. The history is there. Look into which fascist regimes have ever been beneficial. Look, a lot of them don't even understand what racism is. And then when you're having these conversations, because
Oh
they feel that they
yeah.
didn't call you the N words, they're not racist. And I'm like, but
No,
even
and all of a sudden
you,
we're the biggest racists now. Like
yeah.
black people are the biggest racists on this planet now. Like all of a sudden they've ignored all the racism that we've experienced, but all of a sudden racism exists now because they say so.
So yeah, so again, have a hard look at yourself in the mirror. I know you're going to be found lacking, but as we can see from our good sis on here today, if you stop hating people, your skin will be glowing too. Do you know what I mean? So this is what happens. Anyway, I'm going to pause for now, but thank you for having me as always. Big up yourself.
Thank you, Mimi. Thank you. Yeah, as always, many excellent points. And yeah, if people were willing to or wanting to kind of, LB a little bit. Go on, LB. LB,
Am I
I
back?
don't know. I don't know. Are we? Go on.
The craziest thing is I will hear you perfectly if I'm in the comments. The minute I come on the panel, it's static. So I don't know if I'm back, but yeah.
It's using, we can hear you great now. So I think it's because it's using more data and stuff, isn't it, to do this? So yeah. Yes. Do you want to add your points now as well then, LB?
Yeah. I'll try very, very, very quick. Okay, yeah. So they need to tell us if they're privileged, drunk, or they're oppressed, because you trash, they were very, very, very upset. But whitey people created that word, elite whitey people, for in terms of classism. They use that word for the poorer whitey people. So yes, whitey English people hate other white people, and that is facts. But they don't want to read their history enough to understand themselves because they lack a deep sense of retrospection. But that's what they should do. And that's why you recommended the book. We're not talking to whitey people about racism because they're always going to say, what about you? What aboutism? You are not oppressed by race. You have never gone to a place where you're oppressed by skin color. You can go anywhere. I already said this. You can come to Zanzibar, where I'm currently at. You can go to Vietnam. You can go to India tomorrow. And guess what? On the basis of your skin color is white, you start a business. You exploit the locals. You start a business. You open a shop. You do what you want. And you know that. So to come back to your country and lie, because you know what? You have one of the best press, the best PR, the best media in the entire world. Your media is crazy, batshit crazy, so crazy. It tells them that.
Oh, are you there? Oh, LB. LB, unfortunately,
Okay.
just keep going. Keep going. Oh, LB, to be honest with you, I'm just very happy that you're in Tanzania. I'm very happy that you're in Zanzibar because it makes me. I'm kind of jealous because I had a trip planned. I had a trip planned last year to go, but the universe keeps stopping me from going to anywhere in
We are
Africa
on
at the moment. Like it's stopping me, and I'm very jealous that you're in Zanzibar. I literally had my trip booked. I had my flight booked, and I started to book my hotels, and the universe said, "Don't go yet. It's not time yet." So, but I'm very happy that you're there to be amongst our beautiful people. So, and I'm sad I can't get to hear from you, but that is the positive part. Right, we've got Eva next, please. Eva, how are you?
Oh, hi, good morning. I'm fine, thank you. What about you?
I'm okay, thank you. I'm really interested to hear what you have to say about this topic. Of course, you talked about your experiences before here a few times, but this is the topic today. Why do English people hate white people more than anyone else does? And the comments I've made about Eastern Europeans. So yeah, let's hear some stuff from your perspective, Eva.
They hate us because we are hard workers. When we came to UK, no one was teach us like, oh, go there, you get benefits, you get free houses, no, we was working for everything. We work for everything very, very hard. No one give us anything free. Nothing at all. And this is same with education. If I not teach my kids what I know the story about history, or they even don't want to find they will be in the same level as English kids. And oh, don't study. If you not pass your test, don't worry. You will get the benefit and house from the government. That's it.
Yeah.
They hate everyone. Even I'm white. They said me, go back to your country. They leave. I remember they leave the notes on my car on a windscreen. Go back to your country. Watch your back. When I report this to the police, they just ignore me. After maybe 1 month after, they destroy all my car. All my car they broke the window, cut the seat inside, everything. I ring to the police. They say, did you see any blood in it? I say, no. Oh, can you put like bin bag on your window car and this will be okay? I say, really? They not come. Then month after the car, some arson attack on my house, which I lost the house, everything what I was working for 14 years.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
And when I try to find what happened, they say, why you worried now? You got a roof under your head. Why you worried now about your old house? Say, man, I was working 14 years for everything. I just renovate all house. And you tell me why I'm worried? It's really that treat us, even we are white, but they hate us. Even when I ring them, they ask, where are you from? I say, oh, really? That is important when I'm from. They hate us. They hate us. That's why they make me now laugh when Polish people like we stand with England. Man, they hate you.
Yeah.
They hate you same as they hate another race, black or brown. They hate you same.
I'm so sorry that you've gone through such horrific times here. And my question would be like, why don't you go to Poland? Like, literally, that would be my question. If this stuff happened to me, I would get the fuck out. Like, why?
Foxy, you know
stay in
why?
England?
Because my kids is brown. And Polish people are
what you
racist.
said.
That's why. Only
Yeah.
this is what stopped me for going there. That's only
That's
I
so
was
fu-
moved to
that's so
different
sad.
place. I moved to different place. Now I'm in a multicultural where my neighbor is Afghani, Pakistani, everything, and I don't have any problem. Only my next door neighbor, English one, have only
Yeah.
problem with me.
That's so sad. That's so sad, Eva. That is literally like a better option to live amongst these Neanderthals that are so problematic and so violent and brutal. That is a better option than going to your home country. Like that's horrific. I would love to live in a world where white Western Europeans just manage to open their hearts and be less cold. Like honestly, this group of people are the most problematic group of people. Because at least in Poland, you guys like keep your stuff over there. Like you keep it over there. But this is the problem with English, and you know the fact that they never want to integrate in any culture, and they never want to accept you. They absolutely try to say, well, you know what, like they say about Polish people or Eastern Europeans, like you've just said, like they hate us because we work, but at the same time they'll give you the same compliment. We like them because they work. Like they do both things.
They take us job. Man, if we come and we can find the job, why you cannot find a job? You don't want.
Yes.
You don't want. Listen, you working, you pay for school lunch, uniform, dentist, everything. If you are on a benefit, you got everything free. Then why they want to
Yes.
go to work?
Yes, but that's the thing about the benefit system is that I know they're doing a lot of reforms now, but there was a point in time where it was very easy. Actually, it's still a very small percentage, a small minority of people who do it, but because of capitalism and because of even like single parenthood, it was beneficial actually to be on benefits, very beneficial. And we've talked about this before, and I think maybe you were here when I made the same point. about how the single mother, of course, it's very difficult. You cannot find a job that is school hours and
Yes.
then look after your, you know, pick up your child and drop off your kid at school. It's too difficult. So then it becomes quite comfortable. If the government is going to pay you to stay at home, you're like, okay. And then that's how it becomes generational. And I've mentioned before about how my mum was a nursery nurse. She saw the same thing in the kids at 5 years old, saying, well, you know what, it's okay, I can stay at home because my mother does.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's
that is a
not,
problem. Yeah. Now, now I have to stop working like full time because my son is disabled and I look after him.
yes.
But you know, some people say, why are you worried? You got benefit for your son. Man, take this benefit, give me good health to my son, and I'm happy for it. I don't need this money. Even for this money, I cannot take like 1 hour free physiotherapy for my son.
Yeah.
You know,
This is the
it's,
problem with the UK and England is like the massive lack of empathy. There's somebody I follow on here. For those of you guys who know her or may not know her, please do check her out. Her name is Reagan Furness, and she has 2 disabled children. And one of them, she has cerebral palsy. The other one, I'm not quite sure. She still has mobility, but the other one is quite severely disabled. And the things that she has to go through, in terms of course, you know, getting healthcare for her, getting, you know, she needs to have harnesses to move her around the room that she's sleeping in and particular beds. And it was a very low probability that she would even live past 5. And again, all they'll say to her is, oh, well, you've got your hair done and you've got your makeup done and blah, blah, blah. She's not allowed to put herself together as a mother?
no,
Like,
no, yeah.
really? They want you to suffer. They literally want all mothers and fathers to suffer even more than how difficult it is to raise a disabled child. Like, I cannot, and it terrifies me. I don't have children, but it really does terrify me. And I feel so empathetic towards women and men who have disabled children, because the stress that you have trying to look after your kid, making sure that they're okay, then you deal with the society's judgment, then you have to deal with the government. It is so difficult, and I have so much empathy for you, Eva, so much empathy for you, and talking about the stuff that you've had to go through on top of that with English people as well. Girl, you are resilient as fuck. Like, I have to tell you, you are resilient as fuck.
But
Truly,
it's
truly,
also
truly.
about like what I want to say about NHS. Like my son, same. He's born with the cerebral palsy. I don't know how to say that, but he's
Cerebral
got,
palsy as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's got bleeding brain right side, and his left side is paralyzed. And I spent 2 years with him in Poland for physiotherapy, massage, everything, because when he's born, there was said me, he will never walk, he will never talk, he will be like only on a bed. But thanks God for praying and everything. My son is walking, my son is talking, sometimes too much, but he's talking. He's great. Then after we found
Let's give him a cheer. A cheer for your son. Yay.
then after he's got some symptoms which I carry on ring for ambulance, and they say, oh, this is migraine, but I was worried, and again I was taken to Poland, and the neurology was said he's got epilepsy. Then I came here and she say, oh, how you find he's got epilepsy? Because I just treat him in Poland. And they was being angry. They say, you have to decide where you want to treat your son, here or in Poland. I say, if you treat him well, like they treat him in Poland, I'm happy. You will check here, everything, yeah? But he was struggled so much, and they only said me, oh, this is migraine, you don't need to worry. And he's got like seizure 10, 15 times a day, yeah? Which destroy his brain, you know, like every seizure you have to teach him again, everything. This was been so horrible, so horrible. That's why I say, if you treat him here, I'm happy. And what? We get the doctor, neurology doctor from India. And this guy was brilliant. This guy was brilliant. And finger crossed, touch the wood. My son is free of seizure like around 5 years.
We're going to cheer for him
finger
again.
crossed, yeah.
5 years.
Yeah, but same. They just ignore what we say, even to NHS. When I book my appointment with the GP, I always ask about the foreigners doctor.
Yes, exactly. Like you just say, I don't want an English one. Give me another.
No, because you know, you tell
Yeah,
her
yeah.
what's the problem, and she opened the book and looking what she can get.
Yeah,
What's
or
the
they get up
problem in there?
Google. They get
Yes,
up
and
Google
this
right in front of
was
you.
this was
Oh.
like she buy her certificate on eBay, I think, and like, okay, I can open my private clinic too. You know, you're going there and always you get paracetamol or ibuprofen, then okay, I can be the
Yeah.
doctor too.
It's sadly true. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I saw an English doctor. I really can't remember. Even when I was a kid, like 30, we're going back like 35 years ago, my doctors were always Indian and they were the
Yeah.
best doctors. But it's really freaking tragic. It is so tragic that, I don't know, like again, this is how it all boils down to capitalistic societies that if England is not teaching or training its people to become doctors, nurses, lawyers, all these things, then you're not going to produce them. You're just
Yeah.
not going to produce them. You're not going to produce these people. They've always been laborers. That's English culture. The trades have come from laborers' trades, and then anything else that you want to learn comes down to your own interest or your own family influence. And I did a
Yeah.
video actually on this account quite a while ago talking about English entitlement. And I'd said about how in black and brown cultures, we literally just get forced to do better. Like there's no choice. It's like you have to, otherwise your parents will be like, you have to. And then I did have a lot of Eastern European people comment in that section as well, saying, well, it's the same in our culture too. It's like our parents said this and our parents said that, and how different it is when you come to the UK. And if you put your children in the education system, they're just like, why are you learning this shit? Like it's not relevant. It doesn't help you. It doesn't improve you or expand your mind, right? It's not enough. It's not enough. And then for anyone who's here, who's like, for example, myself, right? I did I did maths at GCSE, which I really liked. Of course, we all did maths at GCSE, but I loved it. Then I tried to do maths at A level. I thought I was going to have an aneurysm. It is like night and day. Night and day. It's like absolutely terrified me. I said, this is not fun. This is actually horrible. You're not training us actually up to be really smart people. You've gone from this level to this level. So it doesn't make sense. And then I talked to my cousins now in Nigeria. I've talked about this week, the different standards of education and levels of education when we're talking about in the motherland, in Africa, continent of Africa, or even in India. They're studying geometry at like 5 and doing all these extra advanced stuff. And I'm like, we didn't learn that until like 12, 13, 14, 15, like older. So there really is this, again, we're aware of the culture just to keep people very, very low. And So says in India, they all get maths A levels. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Everyone else around outside the UK is very intelligent, very smart, very smart. Yes,
Yeah,
Eva.
it is. Yes. You are just saying the truth. Always you saying the truth. That's why I follow you and I try to be always on your live.
Thank you, as always, Eva. And yeah, this is my whole point. It's like, especially when English people say that everyone is racist and they like to play the race card, is that I want to see more white people understand this conversation and understand racism more. And you talk about your own discrimination here, or just adds power to the type of conversations that we're having in 2026. Is that, and I've said this for a very long time, the English have never discriminated in their hatred for others. They've never discriminated. They've just used different systems, and they've been more brutal towards certain groups of people than they have with others. Because, of course, when we talk about the racial hierarchy, they were, of course, the most brutal to black people, and then everybody else. Like, I wish I could get it. I don't have it on this. Oh, actually, yeah, I can get it on my laptop real quick. So I talk about the racial hierarchy a lot. This is something that everybody should really, really look more into. And I will keep repeating it until the cows come home. ResearchGate. It is about the racial hierarchy during the British Empire. Okay,
And
it's very important that everybody.
forget also the mixed kids, like in my is Polish, Punjabi and English. My kids speak 3 languages. Then, for them is like, wow, how you can speak more
Yeah.
than 1 language or even more than 2. Like, okay. But
And
they
how are
can.
you speaking English better than them? This is what they can't stand either. Your English is better. It drives them crazy, all these things. It really does. Okay, let me guys show you again for those of you who have never seen it before, and for people who have seen it many times, is that this is the racial hierarchy that the British or the English installed during the British Empire. Okay, so of course you've got Aboriginals and Africans at the bottom. Sorry, let me put it here. Asians and Eastern Europeans. So this is why I talk a lot about Eastern Europeans, because this is where they put Eastern Europeans. Then you've got Southern Europeans, Northwestern and Central Europeans, and British at the top. But of course, British does not include the Irish, Welsh, and Scottish in there. This is just English up here. Because they treated the Irish just like they treated Aboriginals
They
and
hate
African
Irish.
people.
They hate Irish
Yes,
people,
they hate
and now
Irish
they say
people.
we have to stand together, four of us. Man, leave the Irish alone. They are different people than you. Leave them alone. You remember? I don't. You remember the? You know the history. You know they put always on a long time ago. They put on a pub. Not dog, no Indian, not Irish allowed. They put
Yes.
the sticker on the pub, on the window, everywhere. Stop! The Irish never will support you. They hate you, same like you hate them.
That's it. That's it. And it's so important for people not to forget this, because as soon as you forget, this is how they start manipulating you again. This is literally how the British Empire managed to become as powerful as it was. Pretended to be your friend, guys. That's how they do it. Oh, you guys are all right. We like you lot. Then they start manipulating you and gaslighting you. And then some of you get indoctrinated to then do what? The work of the 1%. This is how Coons and Coconuts and everybody else who was other white and, like you've said, other Polish people, if they're falling for it, they're going to be the first to be discriminated against. Again, how can you forget Brexit? They literally killed a guy. They literally killed a Polish man. They did horrific things to Polish people. How can you forget? I don't understand.
Exactly. This is same like last year. I think last year they find the body of a Polish guy in a park. They couldn't find anyone who did this. And did the Polish people was standing that time or do any protest or anything? No. And every Polish person who stand on this protest with Tommy Robinson, they're racist, or they leave the Poland because they are criminals, and they leave the Poland because they just want to lock them there. Then they come to the UK and they stand in the front. So yeah, we support the Tommy. Man, you are racist. That's it. Same like Elon Musk. Same like Tommy Robinson. Same like Trump. This is all same. And they stop the boat, man. If they want, they will stop. But they just want them to come here and make a like big problem. We got problem with the boats and this. I hate this.
I know. You know the English very well. You know them very well.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it is absolutely ridiculous, all like these slogans and all this kind of silliness. So we've got Miss Pixie in the comment section, who was obviously from the Stop the Boats ilk. She's only managing to string together 3 words at a time, I think, in the comment section. She's put love the Irish, and then she put all life matters. It's all lives matter, actually, Miss Pixie. Should we teach you your white supremacist? It's not all life matter. Let a black woman teach you correctly. It's all lives matter. Spell it right, Miss Pixie. Okay, spell it right. So again, like you Neanderthals down there in the comments section, you don't have the ability to come up with anything new. It was Black Lives Matter, remember, but you steal everything from black people. So that's what you did
From
do. And you're
everyone.
saying that you love the Irish. Today you like the Irish. Tomorrow you won't like them. You chop and change. You've decided today you like the Polish again. Like yesterday you didn't like them. You didn't like them before Henry Novak. Now you like them now.
Yeah.
Scottish people, I'm loving, if you guys are seeing it on your timeline, I'm seeing so many Scottish people taking down England flags, talking about how, because of course the World Cup is going
Yeah.
and everyone's like, send the English back to England. They're saying it a lot. Like Americans, they're like, we don't want the British here anymore. They're driving on the wrong side of the road. They're shouting so much in pubs and things like that. They're just the Neanderthals. They're like, we don't like these people.
They got 2 tabs.
Yeah. Look, Miss Pixie says, sorry, I don't have my reading glasses on and I'm disabled. Please be kind. No, no. If you're an asshole, I treat you like an asshole. I'm not ableist, so don't play that card with me here. Don't play that card with me here. I'm not going to all of a sudden be kind because you're disabled. That does not make an excuse. You need to be kind. You need to be kind. And you come here with a white supremacist slogan saying all lives matter. No, no, don't do that. Don't do that. You can't do that.
Or like they also say now, deport everyone. Man, I wish you deport
Yeah.
everyone. I don't know how long you will survive without them.
They won't, that's
Deport,
the thing.
deport everyone. This is my wish. Deport, please deport.
Yeah.
Fuck, say I don't know. 1 week after they will cry, please, please come.
Yeah,
Man,
exactly. They'll be begging us to come back.
give me back all my tax what I pay for this 22 years. I'm happy to leave. I'm happy to leave, man.
Yes.
What is
yes,
here?
exactly.
Work home,
Exactly.
work home. That's it. This is my life. Work home. That's it.
Boring. It's boring. This is capitalism. It's supposed to be more about sunshine and rainbows and hippie vibes and living off the land. But that's it. And if you're part of the machine, you really have to figure out a way to come out of the machine. It is so important. Right, thank you so much, Eva. It's always
That's
a
all right.
pleasure to talk to you, my dear. Like really and truly. I need to catch up with your messages. I have seen your messages in my DMs. I'm still working on that one video, by the way,
Okay.
but I think it's going to be next week because it's taking me some time to put it together. So
That's all
thank
right.
you again.
That's all right. Okay,
Thank
have a
you.
lovely day. Bye.
You too. Bye. Okay, we've got Droog next. Droog, how are you today, Droog?
Oh, all right, thanks, Foxy. You know what? I don't know how I meant to follow that. That was such a great contribution from Eva. I think it just again shows that I'll often request to come on your panel and talk, and then realise that I've just got no credible things to add to the conversation because I literally don't live the experience that you guys all live. And I don't know whether you've noticed, but I'll regularly join and then go, oh, fuck, they've covered everything already. I'm just going to go and carry on
But no,
because
it
they've
doesn't
got this
matter.
locked
Just talk
down.
about from your experience. So again, to remind everybody, it says, why do English people hate white people more than anyone else does? So you can talk about it from your perspective. Do you agree with this? Is this
Oh
something
yeah,
that you disagree
absolutely.
with?
Like the people, hey, mate, white people hate the. I can't get my words out. Mate, English people hate this country. It's incredible. Like you go and talk to your average patriot, yeah, in inverted commas, and all they'll do is moan about the country that they live in. They're literally the most negative people about this country. You know, and this country's got a lot of problems, but it's genuinely not that bad. Really, let's be honest. It's not that bad. It's got problems, of course it has, but it's not that bad. But honestly, it's like they're obsessed with just it's they've got this I think a lot of humans have a natural tendency to focus on the negative, especially white people. Something I've certainly
I think
experienced.
unfortunately, it is very much the white Western European complex, I have
Absolutely.
to say.
I do think that's
it's
part of our
definitely,
culture.
yeah, and definitely in Britain itself, in the United Kingdom, the energetic vibration is very low. It is very low. And everybody always feels miserable. And unfortunately, it's contagious. Because look
It's almost like
how people are when they go on holiday. They're immediately more happy, like, yeah. And when you come back to the UK, you're like,
It's like they want to be miserable, though. It's like they go out their way
misery
to
loves
find
company.
excuses. They love it. You can, I can go on my local town's Facebook page, right? And I live in like deep South America equivalent of the UK. 70% of people where I live voted to leave the European Union. It's really, really white where I live. And you go on the local Facebook page and they're all just ragging on the town, just ragging on it constantly. Everything is awful. They hate everything. Any little thing that happens in the town, any improvements that people try and make to the town, they rag on it. It's like they're more interested in being right about this country being a shithole than actually the country being a nice place. They'd rather, it's like they're waiting for it to be a shithole so they can point at it and go, told you this country's a shithole. I reckon I could click my fingers tomorrow and turn this country into a paradise, and 70% of the people that live here would still go and cry about how
Still
miserable
moan,
they are on
yeah.
Facebook. It's fucking
Yeah.
wild.
I think
And
that's
if you
like
try and
a.
beat,
I think that's a really interesting point though that you've brought up, because the reason why they get more frustrated is if we agree with the negativity. If we say, "Oh, you know what, this is," if there are some problems, we say, "Oh, you know what, this is shit," and this is, but they'll look at us and be like, "Well, you can't say it's shit because you're too foreign to have an opinion." It's like, but you
yeah,
said it. You said it as well.
hating on England is just for white people.
Yes.
But like,
Yeah, it's
I was going to
exclusive
give
to them.
another example. But football's a good example, right? Football is the pinnacle of example for me. So if you go and watch the England match, right? I was watching the England match the other night against Croatia, and we got to 4-2 up, right? And it was an entertaining game of football, and everyone's still moaning about it. They're still moaning about it. The commentators were moaning about it. Everyone's still moaning about it. It's a 4-2 win against a good team, and the commentators were still like, "Oh well, we could have been played better." Mate, just fucking try and enjoy life, you miserable bastard. Just,
Because
you're always
what's the
moaning
thing?
that.
Like they say, like, what's the phrase? English pride. Like they don't take pride in anything anymore, though, is
No,
it?
English
It's like,
people don't take pride in
especially
anything.
this.
Oh,
England, like you're
it's
supposed to be the most patriotic now when it comes to football. Like that is the number one thing that England has always been proud about. It is always three lines on the shirt, and now
Yeah,
you're not
exactly.
even like.
It's just wild. It really is. It's wild how negative these people are. And you
Yeah.
can't and arguing with them about it. I remember there was a market opened up in my town, right? Nice, and everybody wanted a market in our town. They used to have a classic market in our town, and it closed down. They opened a new one up, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna have a wander around. I'm gonna live stream it on Facebook, so people can see the market's open, because I thought it was a good idea. So I'm walking around this market. There's maybe 10 to 15 stalls. I'm live streaming it. Comments are coming through, etc., etc. I'm not really paying attention to the comments. I go back to the live stream once it's finished and read the comments. Fucking just hate. All of it. Oh, this market's shit. Nobody ever wanted this. What a waste of fucking money. There's not even any decent stalls there. Well, everyone's just crap. Look at all that tat on sale. And I'm there in the comment section going, guys, we should get out and support this market. You guys wanted a market.
Yeah.
You should get out there and put your money where your mouth is. And then I'm getting abusive messages on Facebook. You fucking bigot, you brat, you race. Just getting offensive. I'm like, mate, I'm just trying to fucking big up the
Jesus.
town a bit. And literally, honestly, I've just stopped going on Facebook now. It's agonising.
Yeah.
It is.
Facebook is the worst. It's the worst. And I think people need to accept also it's not just an old people's app. It is for people of all ages. Because my town that I lived in back in the UK, I hated the local groups so much. Everything they were complaining about, your dog's too loud, your cat's too poopy, the fireworks are too loud, there's too much rubbish over here. Like everything, every single fucking day. And it used to make me so annoyed. Like I have dogs, right? And back in the UK, I lived in my particular house, I think it was for over 10 years. My dogs would never bark. I think there was twice where it happened, where we used to have this really antagonatory cat that used to stalk the perimeter of the garden. And so I used to have to get a stick out and poke the cat, which is upsetting to me because I love cats. But I'd be like, stop antagonizing my dog, because he's like, "Rah, rah, rah." And then you get on Facebook, oh, well, there's that dog that's barking. Like, why don't you just come over? If there's a problem, just knock on my door. You know where I live. Second time it happened, my dog had his tooth out. So I think I was sleeping and I didn't hear him barking. And this was at night. So then they go onto Facebook. They put my whole address on there. This person who lives at blah, blah, blah address, your dog is just come to my house. Just come to my house.
Yeah, it's
if there's a
bonkers.
problem. So twice in like 14 years or whatever, my dog's barking. And they get so annoyed. And I reply on there and I literally just said, just come to my house. But if I come to your house, then you don't even know me. You don't even know me. You might not have opened the door, and then you might have, what's this mic business? I would have just been like, oh yeah, sorry about that. They get so in their heads about certain things. And I remember I put a post up because people always complain now, don't they, about Diwali? They always complain about the fireworks at Diwali.
Oh yeah.
They hate that. They hate that now. But it's like beautiful. In my street anyway, we absolutely love it, like back in the UK. And also New Year's as well. You know, my street would come out and we have a green there, we'd do fireworks and everything. And I remember putting a post that actually ended up getting, I don't know, like over 100 likes. You know, when you get over 100 on Facebook, it means
No
you're
way.
cooking. So yeah, I got over 100 likes for this one thing I said, which was basically like, if you don't like community, don't live in one. Literally don't live in one. And that's my answer to a lot of English people. If you don't like Britain, don't live in it. Go back to Germany. This is what community is. It is about understanding lots of different cultures, lots of different traditions, all those kind of things. Yeah, Flux, good to see you, by the way. I'm liking your comments in the comment section. You say, sadly, fireworks, my dog is petrified of them. Yeah, mine is too. So I do try to shield them. But again, it is about community. So I shield them and I go out and enjoy the fireworks myself. And I have a great time and everyone's doing the ooh, ah, and you know, it's really nice. But this is the thing, you'll
Oh,
always
but
get
English
grumpy
people hate that.
and unfortunately,
They hate fireworks.
Yeah, they hate
Oh,
it.
oh,
Yeah, and it's annoying.
oh, that noise.
Because you'll,
Oh,
yeah, because you'll see us in the street and then you'll see the curtain twitchers who get upset because it happens one day a year. One
the
day a
thing
year,
is,
they're like, oh,
the
I
thing
wish
is
they would
that
shut up.
I'll catch myself doing it. I will. The other day I was sat in the house and somebody was flying a plane around my house, above my house, like a little light plane. And I'm sat in my house and it's going flying over. And oh, a plane's flown over. And then it went back. And I was like, fucking, who's got a plane flying over me? And I'm like, Mike, it's just leave, just watch the TV. It's just
I
someone
told you,
flying.
it's contagious.
You
It's
can't help it.
contagious.
It's like I'm just like, why is my brain going to this? Like, goddamn plane over my house. I'll show you.
Nate
Yeah,
has
it's
made a very
hilarious.
good point in the comment. He said, but for Guy Fawkes night, it's okay. It's like, and Guy Fawkes night, Naomi Hu, always good to see you down there, is literally a week after Diwali. Exactly. I always love bringing up gay Fawkes night. I wish there was a gay Fawkes night. I would love that one. Oh,
Mate, that sounds fabulous.
But, honestly, it would be fabulous. Guy Fawkes night, I think, is a really good example of what indoctrination looks like. What is it? It is gunpowder, treason, and plot. They don't want anyone to do what Guy Fawkes did again because he was close to bringing down the government.
Yeah.
And now you celebrate him every year. You say, oh, I don't want to be a Guy Fawkes. I don't want to be a Guy
bonkers.
Fawkes because they will
Let's
literally
burn him
put
on
me
the
on the fire.
fire.
They will execute.
I'm like,
Yeah.
why are all these people like celebrating this anti-establishment character, and then not understanding the whole purpose behind it, that it was anti-establishment? And like, do you not get it? Do you not know what you're looking at? Do you not understand? No, it's
Of course they don't understand.
And it's because it's
course
just
they
a
don't.
fireworks display. They just want to see things go bang and whoosh. That's it. It's just
People like
that's it.
RH
They're just there to
chat
go.
is
Oh,
that's who RH is, by saying still chatting all you chat is utter shit. So this is it. Like when you start to talk common sense and actually talk a bit more, RH is the person who just wants to look at Guy Fawkes
well,
like fireworks,
RH
like,
can come up here and have a chat, can't they? RH can
and
come up
clap
and have
like
a
a
chat,
seal.
can't they?
Sorry.
Hey, I love fireworks though. On the plus side, I
Neanderthal.
love fireworks. But the irony of us all going and standing and watching Guy Fawkes burn is just fucking hilarious. And I think the biggest irony is when like Reform supporters go to Bonfire Night and sit there and like watch an anti-establishment figure get burnt, and then go out and vote for a party that is claiming to be anti-establishment, but it's actually just
When
kind of
it's not.
marketing, isn't it? It's just marketing, isn't it? They're like, oh, we're just going to market ourselves as anti-establishment because that'll bring us some. It's just wild. It is. It makes me wonder whether I'm just a hell of a lot smarter than everyone else, or whether everyone else is really. And then I feel like
Yes.
they're bad for thinking that because
No,
you shouldn't
you're
think
smart.
you shouldn't think low of people
Please,
like that.
let's
People
talk
are
about-
intelligent.
Yes.
Bonkers.
Yes, let's
It's-
talk about the intelligence levels real quick, and then I'm going to move to Star.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I'm going to finish it. I definitely need to do a thing about intelligence levels and people being smart because I find myself very frustrated. And anyone who's on the spectrum, right? If you've got ADHD or if you've got autism, like having impatience for people who talk really slow or don't have cognitive abilities, like it's very frustrating. And I find myself annoyed every day. I will I will pace around my house, be like, stupid people. stupid, because it's annoying. Like, it annoys me, and
It's
especially
like,
because intelligence can be learned. It can be
yeah,
learned, but some people just don't want to. They
it's like that
literally
Sarah
don't want to.
poaching.
They're comfortable. Oh my
It's like
God,
that Sarah.
Sarah
So
poaching.
I saw her comments yesterday, right, and I was like, this is obviously rage bait. Okay, no one can be stupid enough to say that out loud. Okay, and be
Yeah.
thinking they're taken seriously. This has to be
Do you
rage
want to
bait.
repeat? Yeah, repeat what you heard, because I know what it is, but for the people, repeat what she
Oh, she
said.
was basically putting the fact that she was putting the domestic violence issues onto the football players. Keep winning, lads, so women don't get beat up. Like, you know
Yeah,
what? You know what I'm
it was
gonna do?
sick.
You know what I'm gonna do, Foxy? I'm gonna put a video out that says, you know what, England, make sure you score your penalties so all the black lads that miss don't get racially abused at the end of the games.
Yeah, do you know what? That's exact. And I brought this up because I saw Femi do a video about it. That's exactly what it is. Because how did I word it? I literally said, you're putting the pressure actually on the black players to stop white men from beating their own wives. And this is
Yeah,
it, right? This
yeah,
is
it's
this is
wild.
exactly what it is.
It's
It is
wild.
literally, you're blaming black people regardless. So if they don't win, you'll blame them. If they do win, you kind of like them, and now you're gonna blame them if they beat their wives. It's on
I
black
don't.
men again. That's what
You know
it
what?
is.
I'll watch a penalty shootout in England, and you know what? Everybody's anxious about whether England are going to win and whether they're going to score a goal. And I'm
Yeah.
anxious that the black lad don't miss, because I know that the next day when he opens his social media account, it's going to be fucking vile.
Yeah.
It is,
I
and
do
I
hope
just,
that they've
it's
got. I
awful.
do hope that they've got protection, and I do hope that they've got tough skin, because you have to learn. It's like trial by fire through social
Yeah.
media. I've gone viral a few times. I've dealt with all kinds of stuff, but now you can't say shit to me. Like, nobody can say anything to me. Where I'm just like, you guys are just Neanderthals. Like, there's
Mate,
nothing you can
I'm
say. There's
a
nothing to
middle-aged
say.
white man, and I get shit. I
Yeah.
mean, literally, I
Yeah.
live stream every day. I just paint miniatures. I'm literally the privileged in this country. I'm literally a member of the privileged group in this country, and I get it as well. I'm like, fucking all right, mate, calm down. I get shit like, oh, have you ever touched a woman? Do you know what I
Oh
mean?
my
I'm
God.
like, mate,
They're projecting
fuck off.
onto you because they haven't.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the
exactly,
thing.
exactly.
Right, thank you
All right,
so
no
much,
worries.
Droog. It's always a pleasure
See
to
you later,
talk to you.
Foxy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That was really enjoyable. Thank you. Okay, Starman, you're going to be our last person, and we're going to bring it home. We're going to close up after this. So, Starman, I really enjoyed what you had to say yesterday on my panel. Starman, how are you?
Hi, greetings. Greetings,
Hi.
Fox.
So greetings to you too. So this is it. Why do English people hate white people more than anyone else does? Because they always try to say that black people hate white people. Like, we actually don't. We're just very critical. We should, but we don't. Brown people the same. Brown people, I think, are like the biggest sort of ass kissers of white people, especially the empire. But like, if I think about any other ethnic group, I'm just like, no one actually hates white people. English people actually hate white people. They hate all the others. So what do you have to add?
Okay, so before I start, I would like to add something to what was it Ava, the East European lady that spoke earlier. I
Yes.
actually saw a documentary many years ago where they got a lot of British people who had this sentiment that foreigners were coming to take their jobs, you know, unemployed British people. And of course, the excuse is always, yeah, foreigners are taking our jobs. And they got all of them, took them to a farm. Within an hour, they start quitting.
No, oh,
They took them to a farm somewhere in the country to do the work East Europeans do. Within
yeah,
an hour, they start quitting. Like
yeah.
literally, like chimping out, quitting. Oh no, I can't do this. Like
It's
it
not
was
surprising.
funny.
It's not surprising. And this is why the rest of us know that they're very lazy and they're allergic to hard work. Truly.
Yeah,
And like I
yeah.
said earlier, is that they seem to respect people for doing hard work, but then they get upset but that they actually doing the work and taking their jobs. Like, you had the opportunity to do the jobs, go and do it then. And you did, and you didn't like it.
Right, exactly. That was so funny. That
Oh
was so
my
funny.
goodness. Yeah.
I saw that documentary maybe about just before Brexit. Just before Brexit. Anyway, to the topic. um, yeah, why do English people hate other white people uh, more than anyone else does?
Hmm.
So, first of all, there's a history of supremacism between them.
Yeah.
Remember uh, how we got the word slave? It's from what the
From
Western
the
Europeans,
Slavics, from the
right?
Slavs, yes.
From what the Western Europeans were doing to the Eastern Europeans.
Hmm.
And that whole model was pretty much the original model, what they eventually did to West Africans south of the Sahara. It's pretty much that was the original model. So it was a case of the Roman Empire just collapsed and the Holy Roman Empire rose out of its ashes. And the Holy Roman Empire was based on Christianity. Now, let me just side note. You know, a lot of people, we've all heard the Third Reich, Third Reich, Third Reich. So one day I start asking, so wait, hold on. What was the Second Reich? What was the First Reich?
Good questions.
The Second Reich was the Germans who went colonizing just shortly after Germany unified. Germany missed out completely on the slave trade because they were fighting each other. They were divided into like several different nations, and they had this internal strife between them. And then just as the slave trade ended, just as Britain decided to end the slave trade, not slavery, slave trade, because they were about to start colonialism. And this was all after Haiti. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of history in this, but I'll just try and keep it short.
Please
so,
do, because I'm getting hungry and I need to
yeah,
finish.
yeah. So yeah,
Go
just
on.
as Britain start colonialism, the Germans finally, under a guy called Bismarck, they unify, and this guy called the Second Reich now. So Bismarck and Leopold from Belgium were cousins, and Britain had just started what would eventually lead to the Berlin Conference, colonialism, because
Yeah.
Haiti had
King
happened,
Leopold
slavery.
II.
Yes, Haiti had happened. Slavery had become a pretty expensive model. And then, like I was saying yesterday, what happened to the Spanish happened to the British. Okay, now that, apart from slaves, what else can we now get from Africa? And they start seeing palm oil, shea butter, tin, coal. And then they decide to remodel slavery from slavery to colonialism. So the other European countries were now wondering why Britain's navy was fighting them to stop the slave trade. Then they all saw what Britain was doing in Africa and they all piled in. Then they all start fighting each other in Africa. And then the Germans called the Berlin Conference because Leopold and German businessmen who were all seeing what France, Britain, the Dutch were doing in Africa were like, look, we need to get in on this. We need to get in on this. And then they sent their own German, quote unquote, explorers, colonialists, settlers, and that was the Second Reich. But the First Reich was actually the so-called Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah.
So Hitler was, Schmittler was actually trying to follow a historical line, with everything he did. Now, so this whole supremacism I'm talking about between them and the other Europeans, or especially the Slavs, they targeted the Slavs because back then the Slavs were still seen as pagans. They hadn't adopted Christianity yet, which was why eventually when the Slavs adopted Christianity, they adopted a version of Christianity modeled around Greek Orthodoxy, not the Roman Catholicism. But for a period of about 500 years, they saw the Slavs as pagans and targeted them for slavery specifically. So there's that history of supremacy there. That these Slavs long ago were pagans. They were pretty much seen as barbarians. And then this history with the Slavs leads to the beef. This looking down at Slavic people and the beef that's come out from it is still going on today. It's 1,000 years long. That's
Well,
why
this
you
is
see
why I
them on
talk.
Russia.
This is why this is why I could, like, kind of talk very briefly about the, World War One, World War Two. It's just basically a bunch of white on white crime. It was them again trying to establish who was the most white out of all of them, and then Britain decided that they were going to be the most white, and that's why they have the racial hierarchy. So even during the scramble for Africa, they were still ranking other Europeans during that
Yes.
time as well.
Yes.
That's all they were doing. So yeah, it does go down to everything that you've said, the supremacist mindset that Elizabeth, and that's my dog barking in the background because she's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna end the live now on that note because she's really screaming. But thank you so much, Starman, for bringing that up. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody in the comment section. All right, I'm coming. Just wait. Just wait, dog. Wait, Sky.
But apart from the supremacism, there's a few other
I'm
things.
gonna
There's
finish. I'm gonna finish.
But yeah,
I'm
maybe
gonna
next time.
finish
Yeah.
some. Yeah, maybe next. Please come by tomorrow because it's my Black Live tomorrow morning from
Okay.
9 a.m.
Okay.
Yes. From 9 a.m. tomorrow. So thank you so much, everybody.
All right.
Thank you to the
Yeah,
mods.
good,
Thank
good.
you to all the guests. Thank you to comment section. And thank you, Naomi, for those gifts at the end. Really appreciate you. Thank you so
Take
much,
care.
everyone. Have a great day, everyone. Bye. Bye.